So, starter deck Uta upgrade. My assumption is that you are completely new player, you don't have any cards, and you bought 2 starter decks of Uta to have playset of cards available only in this deck, because I think it will be the most cost efficient or upgrade to use as many cards as possible from the starter deck. Also, it's something new that we didn't see before, that we have a lot of reprints in this deck. So even more, this video is for beginners, for the new players that maybe start playing so Uta deck on the shelf and pick it up, because as you can see, bottom right corner we have, for example, OP02. It means the card is from expansion OP02, the main set, and the starter deck number is actually ST-11. So any card that you see with ST-11 marking in the bottom right corner, like Uta leader, Uta character, or the events, are the new cards. We didn't have them before, but any other cards that you see with, for example, OP02 marking means that they are reprints and they were already available in the past. In my opinion, it's a good direction, kind of similar like Pokemon, to have reprints accessible to the players, but I will speak about it more in my next video, if you should even buy this deck. But let's assume you bought 2 copies and would like to upgrade it to maybe be a little bit more competitive in your locals or maybe in your friends group, and you just enjoy the green decks overall or the character from the movie. So yeah, let's begin with the leader. As mentioned already, Uta 5000 power leader, 5 life, in color green. So we can use only green cards in this deck, and effect is quite powerful, because if we attach one Don, when we attack we reveal 1 card from the top of our deck, and if it's the film card, any card, because some of the effects specify that it must be character, here it's any type card, so might be also the event, we can add it to our hand and the rest to the bottom of your deck. So basically how it works, you will attach one Don to your leader, attack for 6k total into opponent's leader or character that is rested, and when attacking once per turn you are revealing 1 card from the top. You take a look at the bottom, for example, let's say it's this character, you see type film, and you can add it to your hand. However, if it's anything else, if there is no film type in the bottom, it means that you must unfortunately put it at the bottom of your deck. Very powerful engine, and as you probably noticed when you unpacked your starter decks, all the cards that are included are with this film tech. Sometimes some additional ones like Zoro, Supernova, Straw Hat, but it's not relevant for now. Now what is important for us is that they are with the film tag. Unfortunately, not all of these cards are that useful with this leader, in my opinion. So we will start with cutting out the unnecessary cards that are included here and try to replace them with something better. And to do that, we will go one by one, keeping in mind our leader's effect, and then we will decide what we cut from the starter cards and which cards to buy. The best as singles will be the most cost efficient to just buy singles in your locals or websites like Card Market or TCG Player. So first we have Usopp, it's just vanilla character. It means we have no effect on a card, 3 cost, 5000 power, 1000 counter. One of the most basic statistics. 5000 power means that we can attack without any non-commitment to the character if we are facing 5000 power leader. Nothing impressive, but we will keep him for now, as it's the base stat that will help us to save some Don on attacks. The next card we have is Jinbe. Again, no effect, it means vanilla. The problem is that it's cheaper one, it's 2 cost, 4000 power. So even if we play him to attack with him into leader with 5000 power, we need to invest the Don, and we don't really want to do it. So I will cut this card from the build. Next we have Chopper. Attack is cool, it's like small Okiku. Basically when attacking, rest one of the opponent's characters with 2 cost or less, but we are not keeping him for the effect, we are keeping him because it's a 2k counter. Unfortunately, it's only one 2k counter type card in the starter deck, so in total we have 4 copies and we will play all 4 of them. Once we are finished here, I will show you the list with all the starter cards that are used and the quantity. Most of them, I think even all of them, we will put 4 copies at start just to be as cost efficient as possible. Then we have Trafalgar Law. Some players really like this card, some players dislike it. It depends. Based on my testing and what I experienced in locals until now, it's not that useful. A long time ago we had a video from Noah or Asiraf, I don't remember, showcasing Law with the combo with Mihawk, but we still don't have the Mihawk card. The Mihawk card is going to be released on OP06, so the combo is not live yet. And if we play 2 cost and then we must play we must pay 1 Dawn to return the character and play 3 cost character from hand. Why don't we just play vanilla like Usopp and have it already on a board? I understand we can set up turn like go first and on our second turn play maybe Law on board, swing with the leader for the draw, and then the next turn we can activate the effect to do some small shambles combo. But from my testing, from also players in my locals, I noticed that they don't use Law that much as they would like to. Most of the times it's just 1k counter, and 3000 power doesn't help because to attack with him you need to attach 2 dons to be equal to the 5000 power leader. So if you are playing him just for this ability, then you are kind of wasting 1 don, unless you play him on curve or from some combo if not other card is available to you. So for now I will cut him, but keep him in mind if we need some more combo power. Maybe we notice that this 2 dons investment turn before is enough to reward us with 1 don playing a 3 cost character from hand. Yeah, it must be exactly 3 cost, it's not 3 cost or less. Okay, so cut for now. Here again we have Robin, another character that has only 4000 power and paying 3 Dawn to play a character with 4000 power, even though we can spam the board with the One Film or Straw Hat Crew type character with the cost 2 or less from hand. Doesn't really help us, especially in current meta, where it's really easy to remove low cost characters, and also most of the time we want to use our dons efficiently on board. So why to play 3 cost character with 4000 power that we need to invest don into, when we can just play Usopp without the effect and have potential attacker next turn that our opponent must recognize. So again, we cut also Robin. Then we have Frankie. Frankie is strong on paper because if we go first we can play him on curve for 5 Dawn and have 7000 power attacker, so magic number into 5000 power leaders. But the problem is, as we will see it later, that we don't really have any other synergy. Sure, it's a film character so we can draw him, but you will see later that the 5 cost is not really flexible here for us with other characters in starter deck. So for now we cut him, but we keep in mind that we have access to strong vanilla character. Next we have Brook, and Brook is basically bread and butter in this deck together with the next card. It's 4 cost, 5000 power, so a little bit less than vanilla stats, but he rewards us for that with his on play ability, because we can play one film or Straw Hat Crew type character with a cost 3 or less from our hand. So again, a much better card than the previous Nico Robin, because okay, we are paying 4, but we are playing character that has 5000 power, so can attack next turn without any commitment, and additionally we have a cheating engine, because for the cost of 4 we are playing basically 2 3 cost characters. You saw previously we had Usopp 3/5 because it's vanilla, so if we play Brook and of Brook we play Usopp, we basically have 2 5000 power characters on board, so 2 additional attacks next turn into any 5000 power leader without any Dawn attachment. And this is really strong effect, really strong presence on board on as early as turn 2. The next character that is also one of the engines of a deck is 7 cost Monkey D. Luffy, only 7000 power, but again we have a reward because first of all it's blocker, so essentially our leader becomes 7000 power for one of our opponent's attacks after we play Luffy, and additionally on play we are playing the whole combo here because we can play one film or Straw Hat Crew type character, but this time with 4 cost or less from our hand. So as you saw before, we have Brook. So if we have Luffy and Brook in hand, then we can play another one. So it will be, for example, Usopp. So for the cost of 7, we have 7000 power blocker and basically 2 free cost 5000 power attackers. So we are cheating a lot of Dawn with one simple character that is also a blocker. One of our strongest turn, doesn't matter if we go first or second. If we play Luffy on curve, we can put a lot of pressure on our opponent, but also stay defensive with powerful 7000 power blocker. The next card we have is Roronoa Zoro, for cost 6000 power character. I saw some lists cutting the card, but personally I would keep him just because we have some popular 6000 power leaders in our meta. So I still see players playing the Whitebeard leader and Red Purple Luffy leader, and they are both 6000 power. So having card like Zoro that can also be played if we are unlucky from Luffy, or maybe we don't want to use Brook in situations like I mentioned, we are playing 6000 power leader and then we just play Luffy into Zoro and we have attacker on board that is efficient into 6000 power leaders. This is also the reason why we are cutting Frankie that I shown before. Frankie 5 cost, we don't really have any synergy here. We have Brook that synergize with 3 cost characters, we have Luffy that can help us to cheat out 4 cost characters like Zoro or combo with Brook. So we keep Zoro for now. Then we have first of the events, 3 sword style onigiri, very nice screenshot from the movie. Unfortunately, we don't really have time to keep up freedoms. Right now meta is very board focused and it doesn't seem to change anytime soon, and we will be really telegraphing to our opponent that we have this counter even in hand if we left freedoms open. This card doesn't really match here. I understand it's film, they wanted to fill up the spots, but there was one other character type card that they should include in this deck, but they didn't for whatever reason, but we will speak about it later. For now we cut it. There is no other synergy than the film type, and we cannot afford to leave freedoms open for this event because it's too much investment against opponents that can just poke us for 5 or even 6k attacks, and then we waste such a huge counter power, even if we are able to play 3 cost or less character off of it. So until now we had all cards that are reprints. I understand that some players might be annoyed by the fact that we have such a mix, and I'm also not happy about it. I would much prefer the starter decks that introduce either reprints plus new cards with the playsets, or just the reprints like in the Pokemon starter decks. Here we have all the new cards. If I remember correctly, only 2 copies of each. I think there is one new card that we have 4 copies, but it's not that relevant. Actually, it's one of the cards that we can consider cutting, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We speak first about Uta character, that is SR character in this deck. Is a 3 cost 4000 power blocker. At the end of our turn we can trash 1 event from our hand to set up one of our film type character as active. So we have 2 powerful things here, or even 3, because first of all it's 3 cost character that we can combo with our Brook or Luffy. Then it's also a blocker. and it's a blocker that has 4000 power, so it's not that easy to remove with any events or effects. Additionally, we have powerful restand. If we combo Uta with, for example, blocker Luffy, then for a cost of one event we have 7000 power blocker that can attack and then be restand to defend us at the end of our turn. Very, very powerful card. We are keeping her for sure. No questions here. Then we have a backlight, one of the new events. 2 cost, we can choose one, but only if our leader is Uta. So very important, because this card in green deck, any green deck, is like a must-have right now. Most of threats in our meta are 5 cost or less, especially in mid-game. So we can choose one. Rest up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost 5 or less, or we can KO one of our opponent's rested characters with a cost 5 or less. So this is our choice. Most of the time we will choose to KO, but there might be times where we want to fight for the board to regain the control. Maybe our opponent played something that is not easy to remove for us the traditional way. Maybe our opponent set up some strong character on board that will help him clear our Luffy next turn. The example might be 4 cost Kuzan. Then we just play the event, rest the Kuzan, swing into Kuzan, and we are safe next turn. Powerful card, and even more powerful that we can choose one of the 2 effects depending on the situation. We keep the event for sure in our deck. Next new event, 1 cost, New Genesis. If we play it and our leader is Uta again, look at the 3 top cards from our deck, reveal 1 film type card other than New Genesis obviously, and add it to our hand. And what's important, then we place the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order and set up one of our Don as active. So basically we have Searcher for free. Obviously we need to pay up front, so we need to have one Don available. So most likely we will be doing it at the start of our turn, but because most of our deck is constructed from the film characters, we will be getting any character of our choice from the top 3 cards for free. Very important event in the deck, and we will be keeping it as well. And the last new event is the only one that I think we get in 4 copies, and this is the only one that I consider to cut down to 2. For now we will keep 4 because it's 3 cost. We can set up one of our Uta leader as active, or with the trigger one of our leader or character cards gains 1000 power during this turn, and the matching name of the event, I'm invincible. Very cool scene from the movie, and the point here is that we can threaten lethal at any point of the game once we are at 10 dons, because event is so cheap. It's basically used as Captain Kid leader without discarding card from our hand, because we are playing the event. So on 10 don we can, for example, attach 4 dons to Uta, swing for 9, then restand her for 3, swing 9 again, and restand her again. So we have, for 10 dons, we have 3 9k swings without any drawback. The only thing is that we need to have this card in hand. Fortunately, it's limited to Uta leader, because if green card like that would be unlimited by anything, then every green deck would play it. For now we will keep 4 copies. So those are the cards that we keep, and let's move into One Piece Simulator to finish the build. As you can see, I put all of cards that we keep from the starter deck in playsets. We don't touch them for now, as I said before, to stay cost efficient. Also, the cards I will recommend here, I will try them to be useful also in other decks going forward. Because even though Uta is fun to play in OPO5 and good for the starter deck as it's cost efficient and you can learn some basic mechanics of the game, in OPO6 I wouldn't really recommend playing her, even with the Mihawk. Maybe I will show Mihawk first, just so you get an idea. It's the 2k counter on play. If you have 2 or less characters, play up to 1 for cost or lower. yeah, kingdom of Mihawk, Shigeru. Yep, I don't remember how they pronounce it in the anime. Type or slash trait, character card other than Dracul Mihawk from your hand rested. The whole point here was to combo Mihawk with the low that we cut from the deck just to high roll early game, especially against decks that have trouble with the decks that are going white, so basically yellow and Sakazuki, and we know how dominant Sakazuki is in our meta right now. But starter deck 12 we are getting together with the OPO6, so makes no sense to make any theory about Mihawk, and that's why we cut also the low from the list, because those two cards basically go together, as so in the combo video on YouTube or Twitter. I don't remember now. So let's take a look first at film characters that we can choose from. As you can see, we have the promo events. Promo events I don't take into consideration here because we have some stock problems as always in EU and NA, so we will focus only on cards that are easily available to us. And from film tag there is only one that stands out immediately and in my opinion should be included instead of, let's say, Onigiri in a deck, and this is super rare, Nami. Nami no counter power but keeps the vanilla stats, free cost 5000 power, and on play or when attacking, if we play one, we can look at 3 cards from the top of our deck, reveal one film type card other than Nami obviously, and add it to our hand, then place the rest at the bottom of our deck in any order. So fits beautifully into our wombo combo, Luffy, Brook, or even just Brook to play Nami, search for the card and get even more value, because we are basically drawing with Uta, we are drawing with Nami, and we are drawing with New Genesis if we want to find our pieces like Monkey D. Luffy, Brook, and so on. So Nami auto inclusion here, and even if we are not going to play Uta in next expansions, Nami is basically a staple of film slash straw hat types, but most likely film, as she can search only for the film type card. And again, it's card, not a character, so you can even pick an event, and because most of our deck is built around film type, we will always hit. From the other cards, nothing really stands out. Maybe Bartolomeo. Problem is this card is really expensive and I don't really think you need it, especially at the start of your journey. If you are not sure if you want to invest into the game yet, I would stay away, especially that we have similar effect already, that is Uta, maybe not 1x1, but I feel like Uta is more than enough in a deck to restand the character. We don't need the Bartolomeo, they both have 1000 counter, and additionally Uta is a blocker, so we can use her to our defense, and opponent needs to think how to remove her efficiently so we don't get any value from the effect, and we are okay to discard the events from our hand because we are playing 4 copies of I'm Invincible. So the whole point here is that, as I spoke previously, we only really need 2 copies of I'm Invincible to finish the game, so another 2 we can use for restanding our film characters with blocker Uta effect, for example Monkey D. Luffy. That's why I don't recommend to buy Bartolomeo at this point yet. Sure, if you have him, maybe you can slot him in, maybe cut Usopp, but it's not the point of this video how to make this deck as powerful as possible. It's about upgrading it but staying budget friendly, as the leader is not that much relevant later in the OPO6, especially without Mihawk in OP05. So the next thing that we can notice, what is unfortunate, that we have only one type character that has 2k counter, and it's Chopper, that has film tag. And even though we are playing two blockers, that is Monkey D. Luffy and Uta, and we can stall some games, playing just 4 2k counters is not enough. So let me show you what we have available. If we write like that in the sim, we can see all the characters that are green with 2k counter. We have some options, but everything here is without the film tag. The only card that would fit here also without the film tag would be Mihawk, obviously, for our wombo combo, but we don't have him yet in EU. So the other premium choice here will be Izo, most of the time 2k counter, but additionally it's a free cost that can rest one of opponent's characters with a cost 4 or less. So maybe you need to rest the 4-cost Borsalino or any other threat, and you can't really use the backlight, then you can use Izo and then follow up with the backlight if you have spurred on to use. So some combo potential here. So for sure 4 copies. So in total we now have 8 2k counters, and we are set up with our defensives. We have 8 blockers and 8 2k counters, and we still have 6 slots left. And even though Luffy is really strong mid-range, maybe even late-game threat in some matchups, I feel like we need some more power in the late game, especially in current meta. So some boss monster, and for boss monster in green we have 2 choices from the start of the game. It was most of the time 8-cost Captain Kid, powerful card that if we attach 1 Dawn to him and he is rested, our opponent must attack into him. And it synergizes with his activate main effect, that is that we may play this character and then rest him immediately if we want, and every next turn to play 1 character card with a cost 3 or less from our hand. So most of the times the setup is play Kid, then rest him to play some kind of blocker, let's say for example Uta, and have him rested, so opponent has to invest a lot of dons as he has 8000 power to remove him, and then we can use our blockers to make it not efficient for our opponent to keep attaching the dons to push into the Eustace Captain Kid. Very powerful card in any matchup that doesn't have efficient way to remove him. However, in Sakazuki meta I wouldn't risk playing Eustace Captain Kid, and I would opt to play Don Quixote do Flamingo. Again, we don't have the film tag here, so if we choose 8-cost Kid or we choose 10-cost do Flamingo as our boss monster, we don't have film tag to find him naturally, so we can miss our search, we can miss our draw, but the reward is much higher than the risk, so we need to find him naturally. And for the 10-cost do Flamingo, we obviously want to find him on our 10 turn, and on play total up to 3 of our opponent's rested characters don't restand next turn during the refresh phase. So very strong card to store the game. Maybe one more turn that you need to set up the attack, or maybe set up your blockers, or even make your opponent to just pass the turn. Let's say they have only 2 characters on board that are rested and a leader, then you can freeze all 3 of them, so nothing untaps. So unless they have a rush character, you are relatively safe for 1 turn, and you have powerful 10,000 power attacker next turn. And here comes our alternate win condition, because there are the matchups that you can chain your Doflamingo if you are lucky to draw him naturally, and then keep freezing the board and clearing the characters with 10,000 swings, or even go for the game. Because we unfortunately need to draw him naturally, and this is one of our win conditions, alternate win conditions, other than comboing our characters and taking over the board, we will play him 4 times. And we choose for now Doflamingo, because I feel like Sakazuki is much more present in the meta than other matchups, at least in EU. So you want to be prepared for this matchup and not really for any other. And still, Doflamingo is relevant even in other matchups. However, if you feel like you need Kit ability, and it will be more useful as your boss monster, you can cut Doflamingo, put 4 copies of Kit if you want. If you find any of other cards lacking, maybe you don't like I'm Invincible to play 4 times, maybe you don't find yourself sacrificing it for Uta, you can cut it to 2 copies, maybe try to Captain Kit, but remember that you are making your deck less consistent. We already have problem with 2k counters that are not searchable, and our leader or Nami searcher or even New Genesis can weave on ISO. Now we have another one that is Doflamingo, and if we include Eustace Captain Kit, it will be even worse. So here is your decision. Do you want your deck to be consistent, or do you want your deck to be a little bit more risky, that you don't hit your search but have high-end characters that can carry some of your matchups? We are left with 2 slots, and the only problem that we can see now from this list is first of all, we are lacking 2k counters as before. Sure, we can mitigate it with our blockers, but also our boss monster, our searcher, and our events are really aggressive. And of course, some of us say that the best defense is offense, but in this case I would like to use some defensive event or 2k counter. Unfortunately, I don't think that there are any 2k counters that we can fit into the deck, especially that Mihawk is not here. So let's maybe keep it on 8, and I saw 2 lists. One list from, if I remember correctly, from Japan, and one list from Team Sifu King, and they were running the zero cost event. That is really interesting. It's released in OP05. More and more colors have zero cost event that you can trash, and one of your characters get 3000 power during this battle. So any of our bricks we can basically use as a counter power. So it's like for 2 cards we get 3000, so it's like having 2k counter and 1k counter in hand. Really powerful. May catch less experienced players by surprise, especially when they are setting up lethal, and we are playing mostly on curve, especially with our characters like Monkey D. Luffy and Doflamingo. So even if we play Doflamingo, they maybe play a rusher or have more characters on board, we can still safely counter out with zero cost event. And also the trigger is similar to Punk Gibson, if I remember correctly. Let me check real quick. Punk Gibson. The only difference is that Punk Gibson can rest from trigger any opponent's character. However, the zero cost event can rest only for cost or less. But as we said previously when speaking about Onigiri, we don't have really a comfort of leaving Dawn up, because we want to either attach Dawns to our leader to draw cards or play on curve threats like Doflamingo, Luffy, or even use Dawn to search with Nami, and then we are tapped out. And this is the perfect time to play our zero cost event, especially if we have some unusable cards in hand. So once again, very smart inclusion from one of the lists on One Piece top decks, and also I believe Sky from Team Sifu King. So we'll put 2. Now the list is complete. What can we change in this list? We can play with the ratio of Usopp maybe if we want to commit and play Bartolomeo instead, if we feel that we need it. But like I said before, keep the budget down. If you are learning the game, this list is more than enough to learn the game, learn the basic mechanics. Other card that I would consider cutting is actually I'm Invincible, down to 2 if you don't need that many bricks, or maybe you want to try some other cards but just 2 copies instead of 4. Just cut I'm Invincible and test some other options, maybe 8 cost kit, maybe something else, maybe even 2 cost low if you feel like this ability will be useful to you. For me, from testing and in my locals, I noticed that Usopp works much better, and just keep Uta for the restanding the characters. Now to sum up, what can we learn from this deck? We can learn how to, as a new player without any experience, we can learn how to create the card advantage if we build around leader's effect, because basically we are drawing 2 cards a turn. Other than that, we can learn how to build board advantage through cheating engine, I would call it. I think it's the correct terminology in most of the card games, because when you can play even one character a little bit less efficient in your Dawn, in your mana, and it allows you to cheat out other characters. Sure, you are going low on hand cards, but you are much more threatening on board. So having Brook and Monkey D. Luffy in deck helps you understand how to use it to your advantage, or maybe don't use it sometimes. Maybe play something else, structure your turn differently depending how your opponent reacts, how they play. Maybe don't play Luffy always on curve, maybe there is some other play. The same with Brook. Maybe don't play Brook, you are playing against 6000 power leader, you will play Zoro for Dawn to have no commitment attacker next turn. The same thing with Nami, deciding when to attack with her, deciding when to pay for the search and how to sequence it together with Uta ability, and then obviously when to drop down our boss monster, when to freeze the game, say hey, stop, now I'm taking over, and maybe finish next turn with the combo. Swing with Doflamingo for 10k, and then swing another 3 times with 9k leader, and restanding her 2 times with the I'm Invincible. Pretty straightforward deck. Also teaches you about value of a blocker. You have 2 options. You have 7 cost, 7000 power Monkey D. Luffy that essentially makes your 5000 power leader 7000 power for 1 attack, or maybe even you can get some free block if it's safe. And to complement Monkey D. Luffy here, we have Uta that not only can restand him, so he is again a cheater, he can attack on our turn, then be restanded to block for us the next turn. Additionally, we have Uta that can even save our Luffy. So if we block with Luffy, our opponent, for example, swings 9000 power into him because they know that we are low on 2k counters. we can still save the Luffy with Uta block. Sometimes it's correct to block with Luffy first for a free block and keep Uta for saving Luffy if they try to remove him with an attack, or if they have much higher attack going into your life, then just block with Uta and be safe on board. But that's it for today. If you have some additional questions, let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this little chaotic Uta upgrade. In next video about Uta, we will take a look what is the real value of a deck, and maybe it's better to actually buy just singles, especially if you are a veteran player, if you have all the reprints. Additionally, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is it a good move from Bandai to include reprints in a starter decks? If it's something that they should do moving forward to make the game more appealing to the new players, but maybe attach the useful cards in instead of some that shouldn't be there, or if it's better if we get the starter decks that are completely unique, but maybe with the higher stock and reprints of the actual starter decks in the future. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video, take it easy.